I'm Violet Clark, and I thought I had my life figured out. I'm 32, an accountant in Brunswick, Maine, where the salty air and quiet streets feel like a reward after years of grinding in Boston. I moved here for a fresh start, trading city noise for a small apartment with a view of the Androscoggin River. My life's simple by design. No debt, no drama, just me, my spreadsheets, and a coffee pot that's always on. But one morning, everything I'd built cracked open with a single phone call. IT was a Tuesday, the kind where I'm still shaking off sleep and sorting emails at my desk. My phone buzzed with an unknown number, no caller ID, just a main area code. I almost ignored it, but something nudged me to pick up. Hello, is this Violet Clark? The voice was crisp, professional, like someone reading from a script. This is Karen with Coastal Trust Bank. We're calling about your mortgage balance of $500,000. We've sent notices, but you're overdue. My stomach dropped. I don't have a mortgage, I said, my voice less Clark than I meant. You've got the wrong person. There was a pause, then Karen's tone shifted, like she was double-checking her screen. Ma'am, our records show your name, date of birth, and social security number. You're the primary borrower on a loan opened 3 years ago for a property in Cape Elizabeth. 3 years ago. My mind raced back. That was when my sister Tessa started obsessing over a beachfront cottage, a fresh start after her modeling dreams crashed in New York. She'd show up at family dinners with her phone, scrolling through Zillow listings, gushing about wraparound porches and ocean views. My mom, Diane, would nod along, saying, "We'll make it work, Tessa. Family always does." I ended the call politely, my hands shaking as I set the phone down. My office felt too small, the hum of the heater too loud. I don't own property. I rent a one-bedroom with creaky floors and a temperamental radiator. My finances are tight, deliberate, every penny accounted for since I was a kid bailing out my family's bad decisions. But $500,000? That kind of debt could sink me. I try to tell myself it was a glitch, a mix-up, maybe someone with the same name. But my gut churned. I'd given my family everything over the years, my social security number for their tax forms, my signature for mom's hospital bills, my credit when dad's fishing boat business tanked. They had all the pieces to build this lie that I left work early, claiming a headache, and tore through my apartment, pulling out old files from a box under my bed. Bank statements, tax returns, even a medical form I'd co-signed for Tessa's emergency room visit after a car accident. My name, my details, my life, scattered in their hands. I sat on the floor, surrounded by papers, my coffee going cold. The truth was creeping in, sharp and cold as a Maine winter. My family hadn't just borrowed my name. They'd stolen it. That night, I didn't sleep. I lay in bed, staring at the ceiling, the glow of streetlights slipping through my blinds. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw Tessa's face at one of our family dinners, her laugh too loud, her dreams too big. "I just need a place to start over," she'd said, showing Mom pictures of a cottage with blue shutters. "It's perfect for me, maybe even a family someday." Mom had squeezed her hand, promising, "We'll figure it out." I'd smiled then, thinking it was just talk. But now, those words felt like a script, and I was the one left out of the plot. By morning, I was back at my kitchen table, surrounded by documents. I'd always been the organized one, the kid who balanced the family checkbook when Dad forgot to pay the electric bill. Growing up in Portland, I was the one who made sure Tessa got to school on time, who covered her chores when she forgot. Mom called me her steady hand, but it was a role I never chose, just one I fell into because Tessa was the dreamer and I was the doer. Now, staring at a tax form I'd helped Mom file years ago, I saw my social security number in her handwriting. Next to it, a note. Violet's info for backup. Backup. That's what I was to them. Did I open my laptop and pulled my credit report, my heart pounding as the page loaded. There it was, a $500,000 mortgage with Coastal Trust, tied to a property I'd never seen. My credit score, once pristine, was bruised, late payments I hadn't made, notices I hadn't received. I found an old envelope from Coastal Trust, a pre-approved offer I'd tossed without a second thought. Now it felt like a flare I'd ignored. I called the bank again, requesting the loan documents. The clerk promised to email them by the end of the day. Waiting felt like holding my breath underwater. When the PDF arrived, I hesitated before clicking. Page 1. My name, my birth date, my social security number. Page 3. A signature. It looked like mine, same loops, same slant, but it wasn't. The L was too smooth, the R too sharp. I'd always hesitated on my R's, a quirk from years of signing in a rush. This was practiced, deliberate, someone who'd studied me. My chest tightened. I didn't want to believe it, but the truth was staring back. My family had done this. They'd taken my name, my future, and signed it away for Tessa's dream house. And I'd made it easy, trusting them with every piece of me. The next day, I couldn't focus at work. Numbers blurred on my screen, my mind stuck on that forged signature. I kept thinking about all the times I'd said yes, to co-signing Dad's loan when his boat engine failed, to helping Tessa with her credit card debt. I'd given them my trust, because that's what family does, right? But now, I felt like a vault they'd cracked open. I needed help, someone outside the mess of my family. That's when I turned to Marcy. Marcy's my coworker, the kind of person who brings donuts on Fridays and actually listens when you talk. Over lunch in the office break room, she noticed my hands shaking as I stir my coffee. "Violet, you look like you're carrying the world," she said, her Vermont accent soft but direct. I spilled everything, the call, the mortgage, the signature that wasn't mine. She didn't interrupt, just nodded, her eyes steady. When I finished, she slid her phone across the table. "Call Jack Brennan. He's a lawyer, lives in Freeport. Dealt with my cousin's divorce when her ex tried to hide assets. He's good with family messes." Jack's office was a small clapboard building off Route 1, no secretary, just a desk piled with folders and a coffee maker that looked older than me. He was in his 50s with a buzz cut and a voice that cut through noise. I handed him my stack of evidence, credit reports, bank letters, the forged mortgage document. He flipped through it silently, his pen tapping the desk. "This is identity theft," he said, finally leaning back. "Your family used your information to secure a loan you didn't consent to. We can dispute it, file a police report, maybe press charges. It's not quick and it'll hurt." "Hurt who?" I asked, my voice barely above a whisper. You. The whole dynamic." He set the folder down. "But you're not the one who broke it, Violet. You're just the one cleaning it up." He walked me through the steps. Notify the bank in writing, file a report with the Brunswick police, gather every document tying my name to their actions. Back home, I spent hours sorting through old files, school loan forms for Tessa, medical authorizations for Mom, even a car lease I'd co-signed for Dad. Each one felt like a brick in a wall I hadn't seen them building. By midnight, I had a folder thick with proof, my life reduced to paper. But for the first time, I felt like I was holding the reins. Sunday dinner at my parents' house in Portland was a ritual I rarely missed. The drive from Brunswick was short, but that day it felt like crossing a battlefield. I gripped my purse, the folder of evidence tucked inside, as I pulled into their gravel driveway. The house smelled like always, fresh bread from Mom's bakery, a hint of Dad's pipe tobacco. Tessa was sprawled on the couch, scrolling her phone, while Mom set the table with her usual chatter about neighbors and weather. Dad was in his recliner, eyes on a Patriots game. It was so normal it hurt. We ate in near silence. Roast chicken, mashed potatoes, green beans with a touch of lemon. I waited until the plates were cleared, my heart pounding but my face calm. "Hey," I said, folding my napkin, "does anyone know about a mortgage in my name? Coastal Trust, $500,000 for a house in Cape Elizabeth." The room froze. Tessa's fork clinked against her plate. Mom's smile faltered, and Dad shifted in his chair, clearing his throat. Mom spoke first, her voice too soft, like she was soothing a child. "Oh, Violet, it's just paperwork. Tessa needed a little help to qualify for her house. You weren't using your credit, and it's not like you're paying it." Tessa nodded, not meeting my eyes. "You've got perfect credit, Violet." "I don't. It's not fair if you won't help your sister." Dad said nothing, just stared at the table till I felt my throat tighten. Not with tears, but with something S. Clark. They didn't even blink. To them, it was nothing, a favor, a family workaround. I'd spent years being their safety net, and they thought I'd just nod and take it. Thanks for explaining, I said, my voice steady. Tessa relaxed, thinking it was over. Mom patted my hand, like she'd smoothed everything out. They didn't see the shift inside me, the moment I stopped being their steady hand. I left without another word, the folder still in my purse, heavier than ever. Monday morning, I called in sick and drove to the Brunswick police station. The officer, a guy with tired eyes and a clipboard, listened as I laid out the story. I handed him my folder, every document, every signature, every piece of my stolen identity. He flipped through it, his brow furrowing. "You sure about this?" he asked. "This is family." I nodded. "If I don't, they'll do it again." He stamped the report, and I felt a weight lift, like I'd finally exhaled. Next, I drafted a letter to Coastal Trust, attaching the police report and copies of my ID. I walked to the post office, watching the clerk slide it into the outgoing tray. It was just an envelope, but to me, it was a line in the sand. I didn't call my family, didn't text Tessa, or warn Mom. I just let the silence do its work. Days passed, 3, then 5, then a week. My phone stayed quiet, no texts, no voicemails. The waiting was heavy, but it was mine. One evening, I got an email from Coastal Trust. The mortgage was suspended pending investigation. They'd flagged the signature as questionable and were reviewing notary records. My credit score was still a mess, but the unraveling had started. I called Jack Brennan. "They're taking it seriously," I said. He chuckled, a low rumble. "They usually do when you show up with the truth instead of a fight." For the first time in weeks, I smiled. I wasn't yelling or begging. I was just standing still, letting the truth speak for me. A week later, I was cooking dinner in my apartment. Nothing fancy, just pasta with sauce from a jar, when someone knocked. Through the peephole, I saw Mom, her face tight, wrapped in her good wool coat. I opened the door, but didn't invite her in. "How could you?" she said, her voice sharp but trembling. "Going to the police?" "Violet, we're your family." I stood there, arms crossed, feeling the weight of her words but not buckling under them. "You trusted us," she went on, stepping closer. "Tessa just needed help. You're making us look like criminals." I shook my head, calm but firm. "Family asks, Mom. They don't steal." Her eyes widened, like she hadn't expected me to push back. "You're tearing us apart," she said, her voice breaking. "Do you know what this could do to Tessa?" I wanted to laugh, but it caught in my throat. "I didn't tear anything," I said. I just stopped pretending it was whole. She left, her heels clicking down the hall. That night, Tessa blew up my phone. 10 texts, 3 voicemails, each one angrier, pleading, then angry again. "You're ruining my life," one said. I deleted them without replying. I wasn't angry anymore, just done. Done being the one who fixed their messes, who carried their weight. I lay in bed that night. The silence not heavy but light, like the first deep breath after a storm. Weeks turned into months, and the silence grew softer, less like a wound and more like a choice. I started filling my weekends with things I'd forgotten I loved. I signed up for a painting class at the community center, my hands messy with watercolors, creating lighthouses and stormy seas. I volunteered with a group preserving Maine's old lighthouses, spending Saturdays cleaning lanterns or cataloging artifacts. It wasn't glamorous, but it was mine. Hours no one could claim. My credit was healing, slowly. Jack sent updates. The bank's investigation was moving forward. The notary had been flagged for oversight. I checked my credit report like a ritual, watching the numbers creep up. One weekend, I set up a booth at a Brunswick artisan fair, my table lined with paintings, waves crashing, skies heavy with clouds. I called one piece Anchor. Not perfect but steady, like me. A woman bought it, smiling as she traced the brushstrokes. "It feels like it's been through something," she said. I nodded, not explaining I wasn't running from the past, but I wasn't carrying it anymore. My apartment felt like home now, with jars of shells on the windowsill and a new easel by the couch. I'd sit on my balcony with tea, watching the river, feeling the quiet not as absence, but as space. Space to be Violet, not the Clark family's backup plan. Point one spring morning, I was at the artisan fair, rearranging my paintings, when I felt eyes on me. I looked up, and there they were, Mom, Dad, and Tessa, standing at the edge of the lot, like they weren't sure they belonged. Mom clutched her purse, Dad's flannel was rumpled, and Tessa's face was bare, no makeup to hide the smudges under her eyes. They looked smaller, like the weight of their choices had finally caught up. That I stepped out from my booth, my hand steady. Mom spoke first, her voice shaky. Violet, we messed up. But we're still family. Don't shut us out. Tessa stepped forward, her eyes pleading. I just need a little help, Violet. Just for now. Please. Dad said nothing, just looked at the ground, and I let the words hang, feeling the pull of old habits, to fix, to forgive, to fall back in line. But I wasn't that Violet anymore. I reached into my bag and pulled out a manila envelope. Inside was the mortgage document, stamped void in red, and a faded photo from when I was 10, helping Tessa build a sandcastle on Old Orchard Beach. I'd carried it for years, a reminder of when I thought family meant sacrifice. I handed the envelope to Mom. Her hands trembled as she took it. I'm not angry, I said, my voice clear. But I'm not your safety net anymore. Family doesn't take what isn't given. Tessa's eyes filled with tears, but I didn't waver. I hope you figure out what family really means, I said. But I'm done waiting for you to learn. I turned and walked back to my booth, my steps light but sure. The crowd buzzed around me, the air sharp with salt and spring blooms. I didn't look back. The sun was high, painting the sky in golds and blues, and I felt it, freedom, not just from them but from the version of me who thought love meant saying yes to everyone who's walked this road with me. Thank you. You've seen me through betrayal, heartbreak, and the quiet fight to take back my name. If this story hit you, hit that subscribe button and join me. Every canvas, every wave, every step forward tells a story of breaking free and building new. Keep painting your own truth, and I'll see you at the next fair.